Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. There's a dog barking in my background. That would be our little warrior rescue, a little Tweenie named Hannah, and she's losing her mind because I have the door open. So I apologize for the background noise as she's just barking at everybody that walks by here. We have a really neat little area where we live, and we have a lot of walkers with a lot of dogs, and so there's a lot of barking between her and our big boy Clovey outside, Clover. And so I apologize for the barking. So today is Saturday, May 22nd, and today I'm going to talk about a few different things, a few different subjects, and one of them is I'm so excited. This may or may not be, something you want to hear, but I absolutely love animals. They're my fave. And this week I was driving to my job and I'm going down a pretty busy street right here in my city. And I saw this baby fawn walking along the sidewalk. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, where's its mom? Because usually they don't go anywhere near, busy roads and stuff when there's, when they have brand new babies. So I'm like, something's not right. Like, my whole being told me something was just not right with this whole little picture. And so I flipped a U-turn and I went and parked in this lot. And there's a field behind this, just set it up for you. There's this field behind this apartment complex. And so I got out and I started walking in the field. And then I noticed that the baby was actually trying to maybe hide from me. I don't know, but I noticed that its back legs weren't working well. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I just called out to it and I said, baby. I said, it's okay. I said, I'm not going to hurt you. And that little thing came running towards me, and his little tail was just going like crazy. And he was just making all his little fawn noises. And oh my gosh, it was absolutely adorable. And I personally seriously felt like I was in heaven. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, God. This is like absolutely beautiful. And so the little tyke just came up to me, and oddly, it was the first day I've worn perfume, and I can't even tell you how long. I mean, not even perfume, but body spray. And I'm like, oh no. And I know my brothers are hunters, and, being an animal lover, I knew that I wasn't supposed to touch it because I didn't want to, offend the mom. And I'd keep looking for the mom because mom could have came at any time, but I knew that something just wasn't right, and I was just to be in the moment and just, see what I could do to take care of this little one. And so we had this little conversation, and I was like, we got to find your mom, got to keep you safe. Well, there's this other, and then there's this area of brush, and then there's I want to say that there's a pond back there behind these apartment complexes. And anyway, so this little baby just looked at me, and he turned around and he just kept watching me to follow. And I'm not exaggerating when I say he was watching to make sure that I followed. So I followed him into the brush, and he found this little bush, and he crawled up underneath it and looked at me. And I walked up to him and I told him, I said, okay, little guy, I said, you just got to keep yourself safe, and let's pray that mom comes get you. Well, in the meantime, let me back up just a little bit. I'm talking, I'm trying to help this little baby. I got this guy yelling at me from his third floor apartment building, don't touch the baby. You're going to make its mom not like it, and don't make it like humans. And I'm like looking at him going, like, I've already called 911. The police station is seriously like right across the street. And our police now here where I live are actually now our animal control too. So I'm like, dude, just relax, right? I'm like, I know what I'm doing, and just taking care of the baby because I know there's something wrong with the mom, because otherwise the baby wouldn't be walking along the sidewalk. That those things just do not happen. And so I'm just like, so I'm trying to like wash this guy out of my, head while I'm trying to take care of the baby. So now that we're in the bush and the baby's, laying down, and the police officer shows up. And so I told him what was going on, and he had said too, he's like, we've had this before too. He said that we don't see the mom anywhere, and then all of a sudden she just like comes bulldozing from out of nowhere. And so because I was like, okay, well, a couple things could be going on while he's like being super apprehensive is one aid. After he told me that, like I got it, but he didn't know anything about, following me into a bush. Who knows? He could have probably felt like he was going to get attacked or something, like with all that stuff that's going on in our world today. And I was like, I was puzzled, but I'm the one that's like, I'll just boldly go where no man has gone before. Sometimes that's how I feel. And anyway, it worked out great. And so he said that he definitely would check on the baby for the rest of the day, make sure that, either the mom came back, or he would make sure that, they took it somewhere safe. So I came back and checked after, when I got off work, and it was obviously hours later, and the baby could have moved. But I'm praying that it caught up with its mom, or mom caught up with him, whatever, him or her, whatever the case may be. So that was my second story, actually, of the week. Because the first one was on Saturday after our It's Shelly Jean last week with Shelly Jean. And I was going to meet up with a friend who happened to, she ended up being really sick. And so I was at the St. Paul River anyway, and it's so beautiful over there. And I decided to go eat lunch at the mill, and it was so beautiful to sit there on the deck and watch just watch everything. It was such a beautiful spring-like day, and everything's green, and things are happening. And I leave there, and I happen to put a bunch of napkins in my bag because my nose has been running for a week. I'm like, can I just be done being sick? Like, what is going on? I'm thinking maybe it is allergies, but then I'm like, last night again, I'm like, ugh. I'm like, seriously, super major headache, super sore throat. Obviously, you can hear the rasp in my voice this morning, and I was like, okay, this has got to stop. We'll get to that in a second. So I go back, and I'm walking down they have a bike path along the river, and I see this guy and this gal, and they're like staring at something on the sidewalk, and I'm like, well, of course, we're all inquisitive, so we want to know what's going on too. So I walked over, and there was a bird that he must have like ran into. There's like a concrete wall, and then there's like a little garden, that's probably like 5-6 feet up. And it looks like he must have like ran into the wall and stunned himself. I mean, I don't know. I'm just assuming. And so the guy's like, he's like, I don't want to touch it. He's like, I don't have anything to wrap around it. Well, I have my napkins. So I handed him a napkin, and I said, okay, just make sure that when you go to grab him, that you make sure that you get your hands around both wings. And so I said, so he can't flap and turn his head to bite you. And so he went to get the bird with the napkin, and the napkin was actually freaking the bird out more than the actual person. So I said, and the bird jumped, he jumped, and he squealed, and I was laughing so hard. It was great. And I was like, let me do this. So I was going to do the same thing and use a napkin, and I realized that was just freaking him out even more. So I said, you know what, screw this, whatever. I just put my hand around him, and he just kind of looked at me, and I set him up on the garden and put him in a little garden area and kind of put him behind the wall so that he could stay safe and that people wouldn't, be running to look at him and all this. And so maybe he could give himself a minute to get his wits together, and hopefully he too took off. So I want to tell you, I wanted to tell you these two things for one major big reason. So when my son died 10 years ago, for whatever reason, there was just a constant flow of wounded animals coming to me. Now, my son loved animals, and he loved to take care of the injured, the sick, the wounded, the misfits, the underdogs. He loved that, and that was just who he was. And he had this beautiful, beautiful soul when it came to animals. It was just like he was like the animal whisperer or something. And he's been bringing home animals and doing things since he was just a toddler. And so finally one day I'm living in Nashville, and every week that was seriously an animal, and their animal sanctuaries and stuff were like a drive, like an hour and a half away from where I was. And the last one that really got me was there was this dog that somebody had thrown. I lived in an apartment complex in this beautiful area in Hendersonville, and somebody had thrown their dog over the fence into the pool, and one of our attendants found it, and they knew that I loved animals because they knew that I did pet CPR, first aid, rescue breathing, and everything. They managed, and this little guy was just hanging on the edge of the pool, like, and nobody knows how long, but he was exhausted and he was so scared. And they called me, and it was on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? So I go running over to the pool. I swoop up the little guy, and he's just shaking. I mean, he's freezing. Hi, Bill. Nice to have you here. So this little guy is just freezing, and so I wrapped him up in blankets, and I put him in my car, and took him down to the emergency vet down the street. And gratefully, after a few days, one of the girls in the office that worked at the veterinarian's office adopted him, and I was just so happy. But it was that moment. And there was also a peacock that was in the complex, and they're like, Shelly, good morning, Bill. I'm so happy to have you here. And so there's this peacock. There's a peacock that got loose from a farm we don't know where. So I'm driving around. I'm trying to find the farm so we can take the peacock. Well, I'm not taking the peacock in my car. Those things can be vicious. So, but they're beautiful. But they don't want to be held. So we're trying to find the farm. Sure enough, on the news that night, it talks about this peacock that had escaped from their farm. We're like, we know where it is. So there was all these animal things happening all the time. And so finally I said to my son, my heavenly son, I said, listen, I love you, and I know that you want mommy to help you, but you got to stop doing this. I'm like, you're sending me animals every week, and I can't keep up with them. And then it stopped, like altogether, just completely stopped. And I don't know which broke my heart more, seeing all these wounded animals all the time or not having them at all. And so about a month or two ago, I just said, hey, bud, you know what? I said, I would love to help you out with your wounded animals again. Yeah, they are not cuddly. No, they're not. And so I told him, I said, son, I'd love to help you with your wounded animals again, but let's just do it, sparingly. Just give me time in between so that I can, help and do what you want me to do for them. So I truly believe that my son has had a big hand in this, because after the little bird incident, as I'm walking down the way, and the people too, this is funny too. So when I got the bird up on the ledge too, they looked at me, and I said, you know what? I said, I'm a mom of 3, and I said, I'm used to having animals in our mix, not a big deal. And I just walked away. That's all that was said. And so I'm standing at this little overlook over the river, and I could hear as loud as day, and I could hear my son's voice, and he's like, good job, mama. And I was like, oh, my eyes are watering right now even thinking about it. It was such a beautiful moment, and I'm like, I knew you did that, and I just knew it. And then a couple days later, that's when the deer story happened. And then yesterday, we have a pair of mailers. I used to have this beautiful pond, this flower pond that I had in my backyard. Oh, thank you, Bill. And I had this beautiful pond in my backyard, and every year the set of mailers would come, and they would take their time, and they would come in, they'd get food, they'd take baths. They love that little pond. And I haven't had my pond, so we've been back now going on our 5th year coming up, and back in our house. I rented it out for 4 years, and during that 4 years, the other people that lived here had no idea how to take care of pretty much anything. And so anyway, so it's really been 9 years that these birds have not had that pond back there, but every single year they still come back, and they keep checking. So yesterday I was looking outside, and I was like, oh, there they are. There they come waddling up, and I have a bird feeder out front, so they were just eating all the seed that was on the ground. And then somebody had, I posted it, and somebody made a mention of, getting a little swimming pool for them. And I was like, oh, well, there's a brilliant idea. And now they've probably already moved on down the street to somebody else's house to have babies. So I don't know. But this week has been a week of animals, and I absolutely love it. And so I don't know what your beliefs are. And, you know, I was on a group call the other night to Friday. I don't even know what day we're on anymore. Thursday night. And it was about whether you believe or not. And Bill, you know, it's Glenn Lundy's group. It was part of Breakfast of Champions, and oh my gosh, it was an amazing group that was on Clubhouse that night, and I happened to be on there, and I had forgotten that at 9 years old that my mom and dad were just extreme alcoholics, and as more from Friday to Sunday, so there was a lot of violence that happened in our household, and it was easy for my mom and dad to. And we grew up Lutheran. I was baptized Lutheran, but it was easy for them to stick us on a little blue bus, me and my brother, and it took us to this Baptist church. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right, Bill. You were in there. I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, because I remember I saw you, and I was hoping that you would have got pulled up to stage, and then I don't know what happened, but I'm glad that you were there. And so I had forgotten that I had got baptized at this Baptist church when I was 9 years old. Like, that was my day I got saved, you know, by God, and it was one of the happiest things in my life. And I went home and told my mom and dad, and they could care less, just like anything else that I did in my life. Is like, they just didn't care, and that was just how things were. So I felt a whole lot of invisible in my home, except for when they needed me for something. And there's been such defining moments about all of this the last couple months. And so I've been in and out of religion, my faith, law of attraction, spirituality, and just going back and forth and nodding. Oh, thank you, Bill. And all of these things have just been really back and forth. I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out. And so I really felt, and I'm not going to get into the whole story today, and the reason I'm sharing this, though, is that I know that when I said that to my son and these animals started coming, I know that he heard me. And I do believe in spirituality. I do believe in, my faith is, I do believe in God. I do believe in Jesus. I do believe in the law of attraction. I do believe that the energy we put forth brings around the energy that comes back to us. That's not karma to me. I don't believe that. I don't believe in karma. I believe in good fortune. I believe that when you put out good things come back to you. And so are you saying, well, does that mean that if I do bad things come back to me? No, good things happen to bad people. And, you know, and it took me a long time to get through that too. And because there was a period of time when life just really kicked me to my knees. And I mean, literally, I had to get on my knees and pray and be like, God, you know what? I told him how much I hated him. And like, how could you do this to our family? How could you do this to me? And now I truly, truly believe that it was done for us, not to us, and to me, for me, not to me. And it's just so exciting. This is how I'm able to be right here with you right now on this Saturday, you know, May 22nd, talking about these very things. So I do believe that there is a good and gracious God out there, and that he definitely has a lot more for me to do, and I cannot wait to serve you. And it's just super, super exciting. So times are good, times are great. And you know, when I got my son's back too, when I can actually see his face and hear his words, it's like, yes, you know, you just, that faith right there, like there's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it. It's pretty amazing. Oh yeah, this cold is kicking me today too. So, okay, so speaking of cold, so I've been sick. I talked about this a little bit ago. So I've been in and out of this cold too for months, and I really believe too that, yes, the Lord allows or creates circumstances to draw us closer to him and to each other. Yes, it does, Bill. Absolutely. And so I decided too that, so this is a follow-up on my BII, Breast Implant Illness. And I can't even distinguish anymore if I've got a cold, if I've got, you know, I just got done with bronchitis, and now I'm like been sick again the last couple days. I've been really, really punked. And my daughter had the flu really, really bad, the norovirus, on Tuesday. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I can't go to work and, at least for a couple days to make sure that I don't pass anything on to my clients because I work in the home healthcare system. And so I go back to work yesterday. I'm like, yay, I'm safe. And my daughter sends me a text. I have to go get Jesse from school because he's puking. I was like, oh no. No. I don't want to hear that. So I live with my daughter, my grandson. And sure enough, so she had to go get him. And I'm like, oh God, please don't give it to me. But then last night I was just getting sicker and sicker. And I had been listening to some people in Breast Explant Illness. And they said, eat more plants. Because I have a doctor that's having me do more like keto style. So I'm eating more protein. But I'm really, and this is going on week 3. And I've been following it like literally to a T. And I've lost 6 pounds. But I know that before I had my breast explantation, I lost weight really good on keto, but I gained it back right away. So that was kind of odd too. And anyway, I'm trying to still really get rid of all the inflammation. And I really feel like all this sickness is still maybe obviously coming from that because I do know my body's full of toxins still and mold and all these other icky chemicals. But I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired of being sick and tired, right? So what can I do differently? So some of the girls were talking about switching over to plant. Well, I love to eat meat, so I'm not going all plant, but I definitely am going to do a lot more plant-based food. And gratefully, I'm partnered with a company that is very eco-friendly, that has a lot of plant-based protein. So I had a shake last night with, so I had a rich chocolate shake with a half a banana, and I love peanut butter, so I had to throw some peanut butter in there. Oh my gosh, it was like I'd been to the Dairy Queen or something. It was like a heavenly drink. It was so delicious. And I said, yeah, I could live on these for a couple weeks. So plant-based it is. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go that route. I'm going to eat a lot of, I love fish. And I know that there's a lot of chemicals, coming from that too. I can hear the stories already. I got you. But there's also a lighter protein than red meat. And so I'll be sticking a lot to the leaner meats like chicken and a lot of fish. So that's going to help moving forward. So that's for my BII friends. And hopefully that helps. And I did feel like, seriously, it was like a heavenly, guiltless dessert last night. But it was actually a meal. And I felt so great about that afterwards. So we're going to keep doing that. And so next Saturday, I'll get back to you about that. Okay, Bill says, I'm learning closer to plant-based. I would connect you to a friend with 2 daughters who've gone through. Oh, absolutely, Bill. I think you sent that information to me before. I think I actually just linked or blah, 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 blah. Like them on Facebook or whatever. But yes, please do. Please do. And I will definitely be more intentional about making sure that I absolutely have a conversation with them and not just be connected to them. So thank you. I appreciate you so much. Bill is such an amazing person, you guys. I met him in #Rise and Grind in Len Glendy's group, and he has been and still is one of my greatest supporters. I absolutely love this guy. I've never met him in person. One of these days when he flies through Minneapolis, we're going to be able to connect and go have coffee, and I'll take a picture, prove to you that we know each other. How's that sound? That would be fun. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited, Bill. You are just seriously such an amazing and inspirational person, and I am very, very grateful and honored to have you in my life. Thank you so much. So much, so much. All right, you guys. So that was the news on the law of attraction, and then a little bit of update on BII. I'm still healing, like I said, from that. That was January 28th, and there, our bodies all take, its time when it needs to do, and you just got to be patient. And so thank you. Mwah. And then I wanted to talk a little bit too about financial literacy. So one of the big things, and this is an interesting story too. So I'm reading Frank Lope's 7-Minute Setup book, and I'm going through and I'm doing the lessons, and I'm just finishing up right now on doing my vision for my home. And now we're into finances. And I realized that I was going back through all my vision letters and through all my vision boards. And I have like, I have on there like the amount of money that I want and like who I want to tithe to, all these different things, but I don't have a financial plan. Like, I don't have, how do you break it down? How do you do this? And I know that Frank is going to help me with that, or assist me, or whatever the word is you want to use. And I realized that there was a theme going on in all that. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, no wonder I'm still winging it, still hanging out by the seat of my pants, still being a rebellious rebeller against what I don't know. But it's interesting how our subconscious minds really do drive us into certain things. And do I want to continue working paycheck to paycheck? No. Absolutely freaking not. I worked in a job where I was getting tipped daily, hundreds of dollars. My paycheck for every 2 weeks is like what I made in a day. And I'm like, I don't want to live like this. Just don't want to. And I had forgot to, a year ago, I had attended Sharon Lecter's masterclass on Money Mastery, and I realized I hadn't followed through. And then, and I'm name dropping right now because there's a reason for this. So then Danelle Delgado and all these people I met through #Rise and Grind. And so Danelle Delgado, she does a Friday Night Live every Friday night. She's absolutely amazing. I highly encourage you to connect with her and listen in on hers. And she's also on Clubhouse every Tuesday morning at 8 Central. And she was talking about, if you're a starter or if you're a completer. And I'm a starter on so many things, and I don't complete anything. And I realized that there was this dialogue going in my head. Remember earlier I had shared that my parents never gave a crap what I did, and they never were involved in anything I wanted to do. I would start a million things and quit because it's like, who cared? Like, nobody cared. Like, they didn't care. And I realized that that's been something that's still been going in my head. This record of disbelief, this record of beliefs that I can be disbelieved. And so it's been, now that I'm aware of what's going on, it's something that I can do to prepare and something that I can do to change it, right? So now I had voice message Sharon yesterday, and because she was on Clubhouse yesterday, they were talking about financial literacy, and I said, I'm 61 years old. This is absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason for this. And you know what? Regardless of how old we are or how young we are never guaranteed tomorrow. Never, ever, ever, never. And we can project, and we can plan, and we can, have the faith, and we can wish, right? But here's the one thing, and you know what? You can be on the Clubhouse for 2 seconds and a golden nugget will drop. I had literally 5 minutes. I was on Breakfast of Champions, and I forget who I was listening to, but the nugget that was dropped, it says you can wish for something and you can wait for it to come to you, or you can want it and you can make it happen, right? So you can make it happen. So how are you going to do that to impact your family, your life, your friends, your clients, whoever that is for, right? So for me, I made a major pivot in my life and the last few weeks, and I also owe that to Frank. And the reason I say that is because as I was going through my vision letters in 2009, I was reading that I was impacting people of addictions in the tipping industry, the service industry, bar staff, house moms, dancers, entertainers, strippers, and somehow something changed, and I don't know where that little piece of story is, but I'm sure I'll find it because I write down pretty much everything a lot of times. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted to do this way back in 2009, and what happened? Like, what shifted? What made that stop? And I'm full circle, and that's exactly the kind of a person that I want to be able to assist, is the ones that are addicted, the misfits, the misjudged, the misunderstood, the underdogs, the understudies, and I've always been for the underdogs. I don't know when it changed. Like, when did that change? Because you know what? I didn't know what I didn't know when I was in the industry. I didn't know what I didn't know with the friends I was hanging out with. I didn't know what I didn't know with the parents that I had. But now that I do know, it's definitely something that I want to be able to share with others. And financial literacy is still that big piece for me too. And I've been talking to my girlfriends that have been in the industry with me, and we're all in the same situation. It's like, are you kidding me? Like every single one of us made so much money that I know that we all left having made at least, we had to have, and just a lot of money. And I'm not going to say not any of us, but 98% of us did not do any investing, did not do anything to prepare ourselves for the future after our profession. And that does include the serving community, bartenders, wait staff, house moms, valet. Like, we're so used to being in a tipping industry that we didn't even, because we just knew that money was coming in. Like, we could go in the night before our rent was due and make the money for our rent in a day. It was insane, right? So where do we go from here? So what do we do from here? So that, my friend, is what's going to be, not even going to be, that's what is being shared moving forward on these Saturday mornings. I have a few lineups from some of my beautiful, beautiful entertainer friends. I'm super excited. They're super excited. We're going to be sharing stories and dropping nuggets for that industry. And we're also, I'll be posting pictures, and we'll be doing all of that in It's Shelly Jean. And with It's Shelly Jean, I wanted to put It's Shelly Jean and, because it's not about me, right? It's my story to share, mine obviously, but it's not about me. It's about all the other girls and guys I know where we're at and how we can help, all of those that are just misplaced. And we just really want to encourage and inspire others to do great and do better. And so the books that right now that I'm going to highly encourage for us to read right now, as yesterday too, I took the time to go to SharonLechter.com, or actually her book is Exit Rich. It might be on her website though too. I apologize for that, because she talks to the 40 and 50-year-olds on that, and that's something I have on my goal, my vision list to do today. But I highly encourage you to get her book Exit Rich, and I think it's exitrich.com/book, I think. Anyway, just put in Exit Rich and with Sharon Lechter, you'll find it. And then also Tony Robbins, Money Mastery. I ordered that book. I have it sitting on my table. And then also Dave Ramsey. Now, here's a great story. I'm going to end it on this, because when we talk about the law of attraction and things, when I was living in Nashville, my favorite job was catering. I loved it. I met so many amazing people in the catering business. I worked at a really great hotel, and then I worked at the college there, and I was introduced to the governor and like just all these amazing people. And and Dave Ramsey happened to be one of the rooms that I personally was able to cater to. And because I did such a great job, they gave me their whole entire edition of financial literacy through Dave Ramsey. And the sad thing is I never completed it. It was another one of those start and didn't finish things. So right along with you, whatever one it is you're doing. And like I said, I have Frank Lopes from the 7-Minute Setup, his book too. Oh my gosh, get his book. You'll love it. Super easy read, easy to do. Well, I want to know about easy, because it's been a little challenging for me. And because I'm doing a complete pivot. When all my other visions, I was married. There was a time, obviously, too, my son was alive, so I have a lot of things that I had to involve family in, and my marriage, and things are completely different now. So just know too that you can change your vision, you can change all these different things. So what now, right? So what you see, what you don't see is going to be happening, like I said, coming up. That'll be starting in the next week or two. We're still putting together those kind of things. But the what you see, what you don't see either is the challenges and the struggles behind the things that you think you see in the person in front of you, and all of the struggles that they've had behind them. And it's only there to inspire you. Because once we know something, you can't go back and say now that you didn't know. Because now that you know, what are you going to do? And I say this to my grandson all the time when he says, I don't know. Well, if you did know, what would you do? Right? There's always a solution for everything. We have, you know, these magic little computers at our fingertips continuously. There's not a thing you can't Google and find an answer to. So there's no excuses, right? I can make excuses all day long. So this week, let's say to each other and let's hold each other accountable in just doing the one thing that can work for you this week to make you feel better, to step you into a new place, is take a breath, and life does begin again. Every single day, just take a step, take a breath, and just walk into your new day. And I want to thank you so much, Bill. And to everyone joining afterwards, thank you so much for being here this morning. And I hope that, my hope is that there's something here that can shed some light on maybe a dark moment in your life. If not, you know what? Maybe just a smile, but just know that I care. I love you. And it's Shelly Jean. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you next Saturday at 9 Central. Bye now.